that new dress.
Right.
We didn't always have a bank account. We didn't always have a pantry full of food.
All right.
We didn't always have $5 in our pocket,
Okay.
gas in our car. Lest you forget where the Lord has brought you from, God will bring that back to your remembrance. So lest we forget who is the source of our prosperity, our blessings, uh, that could be detrimental to our spiritual being. Because in our lesson, it just brought out the fact that oftentimes that people sometimes get caught up in the fact, oh well, people are, I'm blessed and highly favored. Well, why are you saying that? Were you saying it because you got all this material stuff?
Right. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you blessed and highly favored, or are you highly favored and blessed? First of all, we know you're blessed because the Lord woke you up and you're here to make that statement.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with your material things. Those are blessings from the Lord. But it's about your spiritual being, your attitude, your actions, and what have you. We are blessed. And so, lest we forget where we come from. So, in our lesson today, it takes us back to that point where we found the children of Israel, and they're reminded of the promises that God gave to their forefathers. Now we know a lot of people when they came to the point when they reached the promised land, everybody crossed over
Right.
because they showed out.
That's right.
They showed out. Moses broke the law, and he taught them doing idols and this and that, and he broke the table. Moses was, he acted out himself.
Yeah.
But God, our lesson brings back to the fact, as I just stated, that He reminds us, I brought you out of slavery. God has brought us out of slavery,
Yeah.
out of that mindset of sinful slavery. And He's still working on us if we be truthful and keep our mind open because we're not perfect yet, never gonna be. So, but He has in mind the children of Israel. You know what? I need y'all to keep my commandments. And our lesson told us today that not remembering, that's detrimental to you. That's like you're not acknowledging God. But he said, I didn't know I was still yet. Have one off the line. Okay. I need y'all to go back. I need y'all to think about it. I brought you out of Egypt, and I kept you in the desert 40 years. We've been in the desert.
Yeah.
We all been in the desert.
Yeah.
Not a physical desert, but we've been there in some dry times when we had a lack of.
Yeah.
But I brought you out of the desert. I kept you there 40 years. You ain't getting no new dress every day, every week, every month, every year since you would. But I kept your clothes. They weren't raggedy, they weren't torn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and I know if we go through male as well as female, if we look in our closet, how many pairs of shoes do we have? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your shoes didn't even wear out. The soles of your shoes didn't wear out.
Yeah.
40 years you walking in the same old clothes, the same shoes on every day. But I kept you. Okay?
Yeah.
And I didn't even allow, it said, your legs to swell up. Oh my God, we got some health issues now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He kept their health, he kept their physical mindset and whatever. But I did all of this for you. You need to remember
Yeah.
that I brought you out. Lest we forget
Okay.
how we've been blessed. We can get into some pretty bad predicaments. And then he just told us, how they complained and complained and complained about they didn't have meat, they didn't have. He said, I even fed you bread, manna from heaven.
Yeah.
I did learn when I was reading my lesson that manna, it said it's some insect juice on
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't know what manna was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he fed us. He said it has a sweet taste.
Sweet taste. Yeah.
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 I fed you manna from manna. So you didn't even have to go hungry.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we need to remember how far God has brought us. Now we go to Texas Roadhouse, we go to Cheddar's, we go Olive Garden, McDonald's. We just have choice. We make choices now.
Right.
Now, no, what? I don't even think about nothing like that. That kind of,
Yeah.
I ain't got to eat. That's what I think about the days early on in my life when I first married and my two kids and when you got paid every 2 weeks and you could tell when the money was getting low. We had to resort to eating raviolis out of cans, spaghettios, and this and that. Made cinnamon toast, had a little butter and sugar.
Yeah.
Put a little, cinnamon on it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what we had to do. I remember those times.
Yeah.
But the Lord has blessed me
Yeah.
because there was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But now I have a choice.
Right.
But I have to remember where the blessings come from because it talks about how people forget, and that's a sin against God. And it tells you also that just because we got all this wardrobe and we got food and we got money and we got this and we got that, just because you have those blessings don't mean that you right with God. So
Alright.
we need
That's
to
right.
remember that because people think that because I got favor with God. That is not always true.
Right.
That is not always true.
Right.
God allows things for His purpose,
Yeah.
and just like He allowed you to get it, He can take it away.
Yeah.
Lest we forget how far the Lord has brought us. I just, the lesson just takes you back if you really read it and just think about how good the Lord is and what He's done in your life, what He's done in my life. And it ain't always about material things.
All right.
About some of the things that He has delivered us from. Smoking, drinking, at the club, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Lord has brought us a mighty long way, mighty long way. And so for that, we should say thank you because He didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't have to,
Yeah.
and He certainly did not have to sacrifice His Son
Yeah.
because we were not worthy of that blessing.
Yeah.
And so, lest we forget how far the Lord has gone, it says that God is a loving parent. He provides food, He provides water, sustenance, and guidance, and discipline. Yeah. And our children, now we are all in here right now, we've already raised our children, they're adults. And now they have or experiencing some of the things that ungratefulness, I should say, their children.
Yeah.
So we didn't always appreciate what God has done,
Right.
and we did things for our children. And I don't want that. Well, I want a pair of Nike Air. I don't want those $5 sneakers. I want this. And kids nowadays they want new cars, and they got all these technology, these tablets and laptops and iPhones and this and this and this and that. And kids are so unappreciative growing up nowadays, especially this new millennium.
Right.
But we've experienced that as well. We were ungrateful, but the Lord has brought us.
Yeah.
We raised our kids because they went through some things like that. Now they're experienced stuff. He brings back to memory how far He's brought us, our children. And then they think about, well, I remember when my mom and my daddy used to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it just says, don't forget the Lord. And the laws, it says that when you get more, are you going to serve the Lord? Are you so caught up in what you have that you forgot about God and how far He has brought you and serving Him? Because that's all God wants from you.
Yeah.
All this other stuff is just,
Yeah.
physical, material stuff. You can't take it to heaven with you.
That's right.
You can't take it to heaven. Nobody in heaven ain't looking to see if you rolled up there in a Rolls Royce or a Lex or a Cadillac or whatever.
Yeah.
They ain't looking to see what kind of clothes you got on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your spirit that's there anyway. But it says,
Apostle Paul talked about it, he said it best, for who's different from anybody else. We have a tendency also to look down on people, because they don't have what we have. That in itself, I'm so glad that God has brought me from that, because people don't look like us, they don't smell like us, they don't dress like us. What? We turn our nose up. We used to, but we know better now.
Yeah.
But just because you got all these physical things don't mean you any better than anybody else. And so, lest you forget what the Lord has brought you from, what He's doing for you. But it says that, for who makes you different from anyone else? What do you have that you did not receive? What do you have that you did not receive? What do you have that you didn't deserve? And if you received it, why do you boast about it as though you did it? Who provided? Who's the source? Who is the source of your blessings? Do you even remember that?
Yeah.
God supplies resources,
Yeah.
but He is the source.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went to work and you made this sacrifice, that sacrifice, but that was a resource.
Yeah.
And I thank God that I learned a while back that we all, when we're working, we want to keep our job, but sometimes your buttons are pushed.
Yeah.
But I never so caught up, when I got fed up and I didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
I quit job 2 times because I just got tired. And I mean, not because I could afford to, but I just believed in what God said. He is the source.
Yeah.
The God I serve owns the cattle of 1,000 hills. He said He is supply all my needs according to His riches and glory.
Yeah.
God is the source. The jobs that we have, the things that He brings our way, those are resources. So if you putting your faith in those things, you're just going down the wrong street.
Yeah.
You really are. I mean, it's not. We are to appreciate, and we should daily acknowledge God for those blessings. But the most important thing is to acknowledge Jesus Christ and His giving up His life on Calvary, that we could have life and have it more abundantly.
Yeah.
And the abundance of that life is not even here.
Yeah.
We just passing through this place. But lest we forget the sacrifice that was made, so that we could have what we have, we could do the things that we did. It says, it's pride that causes people to forget God and His goodness. And the bad news is that God resisted the proud.
Yeah.
So don't get so high and mighty. There's, 7 sins that God hates most? I can't name them all right now. But we get proud and we get haughty, I should say. But God resists that. In Moses, it said, He warned the nation that if they forgot the God who brought them out of Egyptian bondage, then they would face severe tests and punishments. Again, even in our abundance, in God's supplying His blessings, He allows us to go through things, testing, to just see where our allegiance is.
Yeah.
Is it to them things? Is it to that person at work? Or is it to God? Because He supplied that. Yeah, like I said, the job is a resource, but it's God who supplied the source that you could utilize that resource to obtain. And so, lest we forget, it says people who would face prosperous at various times in lean days, defeat and despair. They would face troubles individually as a tribe. This is the children of Israel, their nation. But God was going to bring them through all of that. And God's going to bring us through all of that. And He's still bringing us through those things. What's going on now in this world?
Yeah.
We looking like we got some leanness coming on with the expenses of gas and food and what have you. And we're kind of cracking down on our pennies and our dollars because we want to make sure that we can pretty much kind of maintain that way of living that we used to.
Right.
But if we don't, it's okay. It's okay, because God is going to supply every need. Because the majority of us, the things that we want to keep doing, is not even a necessity to live. lest we forget, because just like God allowed you to obtain, He can take it all away
Yeah.
in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
We know that there are people just rich, filthy rich.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And well, it's not any of us, but but we know. So we just need to remember, and like I said, don't forget about God. He just wants us to remember. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in our lesson, but the main thing is this lesson brings back, I said, as I stated, it takes us back where God brought our people, His people from our people, because we were Gentiles anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but He blessed us.
Yeah.
But we need to remember just how far God has brought you. And I'm sure that each one of you can think back and remember the lean times in your life where God has brought you a mighty long way. We say that.
Yeah.
And it ain't all about money and physical things,
Yeah.
but just trying times in our lives.
Yeah.
Trying times in our lives. You know, it could have been death of a loved one, a divorce, or a child, or whatever.
Yeah.
But God sustained us.
Yeah.
He sustained us, and He's still doing it even right now. He gives you food for the body and food for the soul, and that's most important. Food for the physical body is important, of course,
Yeah.
but it's your soul that God is concerned about, because He'll provide something, even if it ain't nothing but a can of pork and beans.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is going to, and there's a danger in forgetting about His providential care. That's what our lesson points out to us today. And His promises are true. His promises are true. Lest we forget, I don't know anything that God has ever told you or promised you when you had that talk with God that He did not supply. God is not a man that He should lie.
Yeah.
He fulfills His promise.
Yeah.
So, lest we forget how good the Lord is, how far He's brought us.
Yeah.
We just have to, He brings us back into that point of remembrance.
Yeah.
And so, I just pretty much, like I said, I've covered the lesson. Well, that's the whole idea of the lesson. Lest we forget where we came from, where we're going, who brought us, who delivered us. The blessing is that we have to be obedient, and it says that it has to be a motivating factor. You have to be motivated to obey the Lord, because you wouldn't do it on your own. You just wouldn't. We just don't. And it says it has to be that factor. All that one does for God and all that comes to expect is from His hand.
Yeah.
It's not from mine to yours. Maybe you gave me something. Maybe I gave, but I'm not the source.
Right. Right.
You're not the source.
Right. Right.
So let us remember what the Lord has done for us and continue to keep His commandments. Lest we forget and have to, we're going to go through some things in life, but that's okay. So does anybody have something they want to say? Few